To track progress toward mastery in Schoology and get reports such as this one, you first need to attach standards to each item being graded. If you're going to use a test, you'll want to assign each question to a standard. So you can see on this first test question here, there is a standard assigned to that, but the second one does not. So let's go in and edit that question and assign it to a standard. Now you would do this probably when you're building the test in the first place, but you can do it after the fact. At the bottom of every test question, you'll see this advanced option with the Align Learning Objectives target icon. When you click that, you get a list of the standards available. So custom learning objectives would be ones that we set up here at Elk River Area Schools, and you can go ahead and drill down to personal, group, or school depending on what that is. Many of you will go to the state standards. Minnesota will always be at the top of the list there, and then you can choose Common Core or academic standards. You will drill down and find the ones that you want, and you need to keep drilling in until you get to the level where you're at the benchmarks, and at that point it'll turn green. There you can attach, and you can attach multiple standards if you wish. I'll just choose one, click Add Learning Objectives. Notice that is now attached to that question. If I don't want it there, I made a mistake, I can click the X and that disappears. When I save the question, that learning objective is now assigned to that test question. If you have a short answer or essay question, you may be grading that with a rubric. Notice this has a rubric attached. Now, the advanced icon here for adding an objective is not there because I cannot add a learning objective while a rubric is chosen. Instead, I would come in here and click on the rubric icon to edit the rubric, and I would add the standard here by clicking plus learning objectives. Then I have the same screen that I had before, and I can drill down to the standard that I want to apply to this particular question on the test. Again, I would drill down until it turns green. There's a check by it, and I'll click Add Learning Objectives, and then that gets placed into the rubric itself, and that now would be scored when I score on this rubric. That score gets applied toward mastery. You'll also notice that those standards now have been added to the learning objectives because they are part of that rubric. When I save my question, that has now been attached. And I can see that under the question here as well. The same concept applies to assignments. So here's an assignment that's been created. This one is graded with a rubric. So in the rubric, that standard has been attached, similar to what you do on an essay question on a test. If I'm going to grade more holistically, I can add an assignment and not attach a rubric. If I'm going to grade just with simple points, I can attach the standard then at the bottom, and I get that blue target Align Learning Objective icon again. I click on that, and then you'll have this familiar drop-down list where I can go and choose the standard that I want to apply to this assignment. Once I have the objective selected, click Add Learning Objective, and now this appears at the bottom. Of course, if I am going to score this, I need to make sure that I have the appropriate number of points that I want to assign to that chosen, and I do need to put it in a category. We'll just call this homework, and now this is all set up. I can say create. That standard has been applied to that assignment, and the score that the student got then would be applied to this standard under the mastery results. It is possible to use discussions as an assessment tool as well. If you add a discussion, it's very similar to the assignment, where you can either come to the bottom here, choose the Align Learning Objectives, and align a standard here, or you can attach a rubric. And if I enable grading, which I would need to do in either case, I'd give it a category, but then I can choose to use either a numeric scale or create a new rubric or one that I've already created, and then align standards to that rubric as we did with the other kinds of assessments. You can also add alignment to files that you upload or other kinds of documents. Here, if I click File, you'll notice I have this same Align Learning Objectives target here. So basically, anytime you see this blue target, you can align a standard to that and track that as a teacher. For the resources that are not assessments, you wouldn't be tracking progress, but you could track their location and alignment through your Schoology learning management system.